You have about 3 seconds to make a decision that could send you to jail. Not a criminal, not a fugitive, just you, on a Tuesday, driving home. Here's the setup. Red and blue lights flash in your mirror. Your heart jumps into your throat. You pull over. You roll down the window. And the officer says the one line every driver in America is terrified of. Do you know why I pulled you over? You think you know the right thing to say. You think being honest is the law. That is the mistake. And that mistake just handed the prosecution their opening statement. Let's rewind. 10 seconds before you opened your mouth, you're sitting there, palms sweaty on the steering wheel. Your brain is screaming, be polite, be respectful, don't make them angry. So when the officer asks, do you know why I pulled you over? You do what 95% of drivers do. You start guessing. Was I going a little fast? Did I roll that stop sign? My registration is in the glove box. Stop right there. Here's the problem. You just did their job for them. You just provided evidence. Without a lawyer. Without a warning. Without a single dollar paid to you for your testimony. In the state's eyes, you just confessed. Most people think a confession is a signed document in a cold interrogation room. It's not. A confession is those 5 words, I was going a little fast. Now the officer doesn't need radar. They don't need a calibration certificate for their gun. They have you, on video, saying you broke the law. That's not politeness. That's destroying. Scenario. Let me paint the wrong move. The one that keeps public defenders up at night. Imagine it's raining. You're tired. You just want to go home. The lights hit. You panic. You start grabbing for your license and registration while the officer is still walking up. You're fumbling. Papers are flying. You look guilty before a single word is exchanged. The officer leans down. Evening, you blurt out. Sorry, officer. I know I was swerving a little back there. I was reaching for my coffee. See what just happened? You admitted to distracted driving. You admitted to swerving. You gave them probable cause for a DUI check. All because you couldn't stand 3 seconds of silence. Your hands are shaking. You're over-explaining. I only had 2 beers 3 hours ago. Nobody asked about beer, but you just put alcohol in the conversation. Now the officer's flashlight is in your eyes. Now they're asking you to step out. Now you're on the side of a wet road, getting a field sobriety test because you couldn't shut up. That one mistake turned a warning into a handcuff. So what do you actually say? It feels dangerous to be silent, right? It feels like you're being rude. You need a weapon. A short, calm, repeatable line that protects you without provoking the officer. Here it is. Memorize this right now. Officer, I respect the job you do. I am going to exercise my right to remain silent and speak with a lawyer before answering any questions. That's it. But here's the twist. You don't even have to say the whole thing at the first second. In fact, the pros do something even smoother. They answer the administrative questions only. Name, address, insurance, registration. That's it. When the officer asks, do you know why I stopped you? Or where are you coming from? Or have you had anything to drink tonight? You say, I'm not going to answer that, officer. Not angry, not scared, just calm. Silence feels terrifying in your chest. But on the recording, silence looks like intelligence. Silence looks like a citizen who knows their rights. Silence cannot be used against you. Your voice can. Now watch how the pros do it. The lights flash. You signal. You pull into a well-lit parking lot or a wide shoulder, not a dark curve. You keep your hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2. You turn on your interior light so they can see everything. You do not reach for the glove box. You wait. The officer approaches. License and registration. You point to the glove box. My registration is in there, officer. How would you like me to proceed? Already, you're different. You're safe. You're not a threat. They'll say, go ahead and get it. You move slowly. You tell them what you're doing, reaching into the glove box now. You hand over the documents. Then comes the trap. Do you know why I pulled you over? Here's where most people break. They feel the pressure. The silence is loud. You simply say, I'm not going to answer that, officer. I know you're just doing your job. The might push. Why not? If you didn't do anything wrong, just tell me. This is the test. This is where 99% of people fold. You just repeat, calmer this time. I'm choosing to remain silent. I'm sure you understand. That's the magic. I'm sure you understand. It flips it back on them. It implies they are reasonable. Most officers will drop it because you just signaled that you are not an easy target. You know the game. You get the ticket, or you get the warning. But you do not give them a confession. You do not give them a reason to search the car. You do not end up in the back of the cruiser. That one decision changes everything. A lot of drivers think, okay, I just won't confess. I'll lie instead. No, no, no. Lying to a federal officer is a crime. 18 U.S. Code Section 1001. That's a felony. You say, I didn't have anything to drink, and the breathalyzer says .02? You just added obstruction to a traffic ticket. But silence? Silence is not a lie. Silence is a right. The Fifth Amendment isn't just for courtrooms. It's for that roadside. Here's what lawyers know that you don't. When you stay silent, you force the state to prove their case. They have to produce the radar reading. They have to show the dash cam. They have to prove you swerved. The moment you open your mouth, you waive that protection. You become the star witness against yourself. And trust me, you are a terrible witness. You're tired, you're stressed, You misremember things. You say, I think I was going 40 when the radar said 37. Now there's a discrepancy. Now the prosecutor has something to work with. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your case intact. If this is helping you understand something most people never learn until they're in a courtroom, subscribe, because we break this down in simple, real-world terms every week. No law degree required. Just survival skills. Let's go back to that anxiety, the one that makes you talk. You're thinking, if I just explain, they'll let me go. That's a lie from movies. Real police work is not about justice in the moment. Real police work is about building a case. The officer is not your friend. They are a collector of evidence. Your emotions are the evidence. You say, I'm just tired from work. That's evidence of fatigue. You say, it's my wife's car. That's evidence you're not familiar with the vehicle. You say, I had one drink 4 hours ago. That's evidence of consumption. Every single word is a data point, and data points add up to probable cause. Remember that word, probable cause. It sounds legal and complicated. It's not. It just means a good enough reason to search you. You give them 3 small statements. Now they have probable cause. They call the K9 unit. Now you're waiting 25 minutes on the shoulder while a dog sniffs your doors, even if you have nothing. You just lost an hour of your life because you couldn't stop explaining, so you stay silent, you get the ticket, you go to court. Now what? Now your lawyer has a superpower. The officer has to testify about what they saw, not what you said. If the radar was broken, if the camera was off, if they lost the notes, you win. Not because you're innocent, because they can't prove you're guilty. But if you opened your mouth, I was speeding, game over. The officer just points at the transcript. No defense, no argument, just a conviction. That is the difference between a $200 fine and a wrecked driving record that follows you for 3 years. Or worse, a DUI charge that costs you $10,000. What if they don't accept your silence? What if they keep pushing? Sir, if you didn't do anything wrong, why won't you answer? Here's the line. Use it exactly. Officer, with all due respect, I have been advised by legal counsel to never answer questions without an attorney present. I'm following that advice. Notice the phrasing. Advised by legal counsel, even if you've never spoken to a lawyer in your life, you just created a legal wall. Officers know that if they push past that line, any evidence they get is going to be thrown out by a judge. They will stop pushing because they want a conviction. And you just told them you're not giving them one. Right now, your stomach might be tight. You're thinking about that red light you rolled last week. That's good. That's fear. Fear makes you pay attention. But here's the clarity. You haven't done anything wrong yet. The mistake is not the traffic violation. The mistake is what comes after the lights go on. You are in control. Not the badge, not the flashing lights. You. Because you now know a secret that most drivers never learn. The conversation on the shoulder is not a conversation. It's a legal proceeding, and you have the right to plead the fifth at any time. Silence is not guilt. Silence is strategy. Let's lock this in. 3 steps. That's it. 1. Stop the car safely. Hands on the wheel. Interior light on. Wait. 2. Answer only the ID questions. Name, address. Show the license. Show the registration. 3. When they ask for information beyond that, say, I'm not going to answer that, officer. Do not explain. Do not apologize. Do not guess what you did wrong. Just silence. Here's the truth they don't teach in driver's ed. You don't beat the ticket on the side of the road. You beat it in the courtroom. And you cannot win a courtroom fight if you gave away your entire defense for free in the first 3 minutes. That one mistake, talking, it's the only mistake that turns a warning into a conviction. Don't make it. I want to know. Have you ever said something during a traffic stop that you immediately regretted? Have you ever watched an officer write down your words and known you just messed up? Drop it in the comments. Let's make sure the next driver doesn't make the same mistake. And if you want to know exactly what to do if they ask you to step out of the car, that's the next video. And it's the one that keeps people out of handcuffs. Get the notification on. You won't want to miss that window.